Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm Atsu. Today I want to talk about speaking and writing. So this is a sequel to the previous video in which I talked about reading and listening. Basically, I want to do pretty much the same thing covering. So here I listed 4 things to touch on. The first is the similarity between the two. The second is the differences. The third is a relationship. The fourth is the tools that you can use in improving them being in Japan. So 4 things to cover. Right? So let me start with the first one. The first one, similarity. So how similar speaking and writing are. I reckon they are very similar in that they are both output-oriented. Reading and listening are input-oriented, right? Because you try to understand what's already written in there or whatever you hear from your ear. So from that viewpoint, they are input-oriented, whereas speaking and writing are a little bit different because you have to come up with English sentences in your head and then output them from your mouth or in writing. So speaking and writing are very similar. There's much affinity between the two, but a little bit different from reading and listening. Okay, so that's the first thing to cover. Okay, the first one ticked off. The second thing is the differences. So what's the differences between the two? So in my opinion, the first difference is in speaking, it requires you to have an ability to pronounce words, because if you can't pronounce your English sentences correctly, it gets very hard for native speakers to understand whatever you are saying. So that's the first key point to cover. The second is instantaneousness. So what I mean by instantaneousness is how quickly you can make English sentences, right? Using your vocabulary knowledge and also grammar knowledge. In writing, you have a lot of time to think about the accuracy of grammar, the appropriateness of vocabulary, and also the structure of the whole English passage. But in speaking, you have to really instantaneously make sentences and output. So that's a clear difference between speaking and writing, I reckon. Okay? Then the third point, relationship. There is a close correlation between the ability to speak and write because they're both similar in nature. If you improve your speaking ability, that would definitely positively affect writing and vice versa. But in my opinion, speaking has more positive effect on writing than what writing has on speaking. So the reason for it is, as I said, speaking requires instantaneousness. So if you can make sentences very quickly, right, and then output it, you can definitely do the same thing in writing, in which you normally have more time. Of course, assuming that you can spell words correctly, and understand how to structure your sentences. That is one of the reasons why my focus has been always on speaking, not really writing, because to me, writing is like a byproduct of speaking. That's the third point. Let me go into the last point, tools. So there are mainly 3 tools that I think you can use being in Japan to improve them. Of course, going overseas is a good idea, but not necessarily whether you have to do it, because there are very good tools in Japan to improve them. They are very speaking focused, but as I said, improving speaking will definitely cascade into writing. So let me start with the first one. The first tool is to make sure that you make 1 or 2 English sentences when memorizing vocabulary. What I normally ensure is to make a couple of English sentences using vocabulary. I don't really care too much about the grammatical accuracy, etc. when making English sentences, but I just try because having such an opportunity will definitely get you used to making sentences, right? So that's the first thing to keep in mind in memorizing vocabulary and one way to improve speaking and thus writing. Okay? The second is speaking to yourself, or it doesn't have to be yourself, it can be an object here, or it can be whatever, but you should try to speak all the time. For instance, when you're at home and doing the dishes, you can speak to yourself or speak to the dishes, or whatever things that you were talking with, it's very important to have such an opportunity, because I think it's more advantageous than speaking to a native speaker, in that you can correct your sentences like 100 times if you want to, which is not really possible, I think, in talking with a native speaker. So the third thing is online conversation lessons. There are a number of online conversation lessons or institutions that provide such services in Japan, right? Such as a Rare Job. So I used to do Rare Job when I was like 18 or 19 years old. I quit doing it because I'm here in Australia, but it's definitely one of the good ways to improve it, because you can ensure to have a 25-minute or 5-minute lesson every day for such low cost, like $50 or $100 per month. It's very, very cheap, but you can have a chance to have a conversation. So thank you very much for watching this video, much appreciated. So hopefully 4 things that I covered in this video will be helpful in improving your English skill. Thank you very much again. See you next time. Bye.